What's good? This is Brittany Sunshine with Seed Soil Water, and I have a little glimpse of a message, and I am just going to do what I always do and roll with the Spirit and pull it through as we go. So we give thanks for revelation, we give thanks for this community. Shout out to all of the new subscribers, welcome, and we're so glad you're here. So this message is coming right off of the coattails. I don't know if that's the right word, but that this message is coming off of the coattails of Easter, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. And it is when it's based on the story of when Peter and John and the homies that were with Jesus, Yeshua, when they all, so now Yeshua had been crucified, and imagine this, like imagine being so devoted, so committed, so in faith, that you leave your life to go follow like this truth that you experienced. And this message is for you if it's found you. And there's a message in here with advice from the divine team, so stick around. Make sure to hit the bell, subscribe, put it to all so that you don't miss another message. So then when in this moment of like shit is hitting the fan, they have arrested Yeshua even though he didn't do anything wrong. It is like the government and the religious people ganging up on this unique, rare thread of energy that was disrupting everything just because of how unique and different it was. And the disruption was actually all through like righteous, like a good positive plumb line, but that good positive plumb line was disrupting systems. It was disrupting cultural systems. It was disrupting cultural standards. You know, he went around just breaking all the rules. Yeshua did. He was talking to women. He was talking to the people that were in the other, he was talking to those other guys. He was talking to the women, all of these like secondhand citizens. He just walked up in the temple and started teaching when they're like, who's this guy at first, in his hometown, they're like, isn't that, what's his name, son? He's not important. What, what is he doing? And then everybody loved him. He got that flash of fame. And remember, the disciples are like, they're waiting for you at this place and they're waiting for you at that place. And he's like, that's cool. Like, I'm going to the mountain to pray. Like, he was never moved by the attention in terms of who he was and his identity. And so quickly, the same people who were like the super fans were the same ones that would soon later be yelling, crucify him. Okay? So this is backstory in case you don't know the story. And regardless of what your background is, you're welcome here. And the story is going to have like revelation for your path. So then Yeshua is crucified and everybody kind of like scatters. Somebody was like to Peter, they recognized his accent. And they're like, you, 333, as I looked up, they're like, you guy, you dude, you were with that guy. And he was like, no, I wasn't. He's terrified because he just saw what happened to Yeshua. And honestly, it's one of those things that in the story, for what Peter's mission would be, and don't worry, he'd pay for it later. Like, he would have his chance to be shown loyal and proven faithful. But what's wild is that in that time, I believe that in that moment, he had to do what he had to do. And I don't even think it was via his free will. I think it was like written into the story so that he wasn't hung right along with him, hung up there, not hung, but hung up on a cross. Peter had his own chance later, but he had to do some work first. And, but Peter felt devastated because here was his moment to show himself faithful. And I think so for this part of the story where this message is coming from right here, like, so this is now where they're at. They're like, the dude that we just were following, we so believed him, we were so about it, we were so committed, we were so devoted, we abandoned like our life, like everything we had going, to just follow this guy. A lot of people left, down to just a few then somebody betrayed him out to these takers. The takers hung him up and killed him. And it's like the whole time they were believing that this is going to be the Redeemer, that this is going to be the Savior, this is going to be, you know, God manifest. And it's like, and then that happened. Like, how confusing and devastating. And so what do you do now? Like, what do you do now when the entire message that you've gone around spreading, you, for this moment, in this moment, think is like bunk? Like, in this moment, you think that message is wrong. Like, you know, or it's confusing. It's like you can't go running around saying it anymore, because it's like, where is the saving message in what happened? What is the message worth spreading now? They were running around, like, you know, talking to the people, teaching the people, and it's like that teacher now, who was supposed to be the Redeemer, like, just died. 555. So, like, what, you know? So then what do? They go back to what they knew. Here comes the message, so pay attention. What do? Peter goes, I'm going fishing. And the other dudes that were, you know, the other disciples, like John, they're like, we're going to go with you. So they go back to fishing, because that's what their trade was before this whole crazy 3 years with Jesus. Before, you know, 3 years of like this crazy trip. You know, can you imagine how like devastated and confusing it would have been? And being like, I just gave up 3 years of my life to like run after this guy who then they ended up killing. So like, what happened? Who was he? Was I wrong? Was it all a big scam or a sham or a whatever? I'm confused. So what are you going to do now? Like, what can you possibly do? Not to mention the entire community just showed that they're willing to kill people that want to try and keep on that train. No problem. So Peter's like, I'm going fishing. And John and them are like, yeah, we'll go too. So then they go out all night fishing, which is like their life's work. It's like their trade. It's like the thing that they're supposed to be good at. And they catch no fish all night long. Imagine that despair. Being like, okay, we're not good at what we used to do. We can't do what we've been doing. Like, talk about gut punch. Like, I wonder what that felt like. I bet that felt like desperate and like so discouraging. And then some guy on the shoreline is like, do you guys have any fish? And they're like, no. And the guy on the shoreline says, cast your net on the other side of the boat. Now, let's think about this. This is back in like fishing villager days. The boat probably wasn't that big. Think about like what the guy just said. It's literally you drop your net into the water. And he didn't say, have you ever been fishing? Sometimes the solution is like you ride 300 yards that way, you know, or you ride 1,000 yards that way and you try and hit a totally different spot. That's not what he said at all. He didn't say go hit a different spot. He was like, throw your net from right here to right here. Like, that's dumb advice, generally speaking. Okay? But for whatever reason, these professional fishermen take this dumb advice, like, and they're like, okay, we'll put it on the other side. And next thing you know, the net is like filling up, like so many fish that it's like weighing down the boat, and the nets are like overflowing with fish just by putting it on the other side of the boat. There's a whole lesson in there, and just like, and what I believe that this is, I felt really nudged to come share this message. So there might be something coming in your path where it's going to be like, it's going to be like a no-brainer, or like a common sense, like duh, or like a kind of like a dumb advice. Something that doesn't necessarily make logical sense according to the way that it's always been done. But when it happens, you're going to be like, this message is going to come to your mind, and you're going to be like, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to do it because this might be one of those moments, like, and you can invite the Spirit to like notify you when that thing comes up. And so now they're like overflowing with fish after fishing all night in the spot just by throwing it on the other side of the boat. Doesn't make any sense. But that, I think, is what kind of cued them to realize who Yeshua was. Like that the guy on the shore was actually Yeshua come back to life, resurrected, like back on the planet again. You know, they just saw this guy get murked, and now he's just right over there being like, why don't you try it on the other side? Like, they're like, okay, they do. And then when Peter realized it, John, I think, is the one that first noticed. And John always refers to himself as the one that he loved, the one that like the Lord loved. So he always refers to himself as like the one. It'd be like me being like, instead of being like Brittany in third person, it's like the one that Yeshua loved. And that's how he writes about himself in his book, in John's book. Okay. So John, I think, was like, that's the Lord. Like, that's Yeshua. That's him. And when Peter realized that, he jumped in the water and swam as fast as he could to get to his best friend. And I'm not going to cry this time. I sat and sobbed about this earlier, just thinking about that reunion and thinking about the moment of realizing, like, okay, wait, it wasn't all just a crazy sham. This guy wasn't just a, like, what's that word? Counterfeit. And I think that what was most important to Peter of all was that he had a moment that he got to, like, love his friend. Like, and after betraying him, after being like, I don't know that guy. And I can only imagine also how heavy that was on Peter, knowing that in Yeshua's greatest moment of betrayal that Peter didn't show up for him in the way that he would have wanted to as like a good friend. And then now all of a sudden he's there and he gets to see him. And the best part of the story, by the way, first of all, Yeshua looked different. He looked different because they kept being like, they didn't even have to ask him who he was. They just knew who he was. Like, remember Mary also at the tomb, she thought he was a gardener because he looked different. But she heard his voice, and his voice moves me every time. His voice, she like knew his voice. We know his voice. And So Peter, you know, and the best part is that Yeshua already had like a fire made on the beach and he already had fish on there. But then he's like, bring some more fish. He already had fish and bread, okay? Which is also a throwback to the Last Supper when they broke bread. And he's like, this is my body broken for you. And now all of a sudden they're having this full circle moment of eating fish, which is their original, like, that's where Jesus very first found them, was when they were fishing. And he was like, yo, come with me. I'm going to make you fishers of men. And they're like, okay. Like, I'm still wondering why in the world did they go? Like, what does that even mean? But, you know, his essence, the essence of his energy was so captivating and pure and undeniable and, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. And irresistible that they had to go. Wow. Okay, so let's dig in. So that's the setup, and let's just see kind of what more there is here to say. And then, oh, just so you know, in case you care about how the story ends, Peter then is like, you know, he's there with Yeshua, and Yeshua's like, okay, game's still on, like, story's still a go. I really did what I said I was going to do, but it just looked different than what you all expected. You wanted me to come and like have some sort of military overthrowing thing, but I went through the darkness and transmuted it into like death, transmuted the death into life. Like, wow, 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 wow. And wait for it. So then, and you remember Peter denied him 3 times. He said he didn't know him 3 times. And so Yeshua gives him this opportunity to like make it right by asking him 3 times. But what we miss in the English that is actually in the original language, which I would believe is the Aramaic at that time, is that he actually asked him in the different, or maybe, no, this is in the Greek. My apologies, the Greek. He asked him the 3 different ways of, do you love me? Like, do you love me like family? Do you love me like a friend? Do you love me like God? I think, and we can all go study this out on our own if we really, really care. But the point is, he doesn't just ask him, do you love me 3 times in the English word of love. He actually asks it in the 3 different relational positioning that it represented according to the actual word that he used. And so it gave Peter an opportunity to show his devotion, show his care. And he's like, I love you like that. And then he's like, so go and feed my sheep. And as we all know, like, feeding the sheep would be through revelation, through passing revelation. And okay, so that's where that's going to leave off. So the setup, these are the cards that came out when I was asking for some more on this, is living water. I mean, are you kidding me? So we know, like, the spirit of life is the living water. Yeshua was like, I'm the living water, and the fountain of life. Like, there's so many water references. I'm going to leave that for you. I don't want to try and fill it in too much right now. Then this is prophesy according to your revelation. Prophesy according to your revelation. This reminds me of, like, speaking something that is not as though it is. And so it went back to the story where he's like, just throw the net on the other side of the boat, and then it's like overflowing. It's like sometimes we have to realize that that same spirit that is in Yeshua, like, the whole point was that he activated it. He made it possible for us to activate it, to lay hold of it, to reside within that spirit within ourselves. And so therefore we also can speak something. So maybe this message is to remind you that if you ever come up against something that seems like impossible, you can script it, you can write it. And segue, shameless plug for the Seed, Soil, Water Alchemyze membership. It's a monthly membership. It's only $11.11 a month, and we're going to be doing all these types of quantum, universal principle, manifestation type rooted practices, and we're going to do challenges. Every single month there will be a different workshop, a challenge, journaling prompts, lessons, and a specific reading for the group, for the collective that's there. So hit the link below if you're interested in joining. It's only $11.11 a month. It's a great way to exchange your energy into this garden that is here. And if you want to support the work that I do, it's a great way that you can help support what I do and give some financial support to allow me to put more into my life's work, which is this. And the workshop, there's going to be a different workshop, featured workshop every single month. So May, if you're finding this when it's coming out, we're going to talk about the reticular activating system. We're going to touch on some universal laws. The challenge is going to be speak what you seek. So we're all going to be doing a challenge together. It's a great way to just kind of jump into momentum that's being created collectively. And each month you'll be entered to win a free gift. So hit the link below, enroll. It's $11.11 a month. You can cancel anytime. And I just really want to see all of us step into that next level of identity. And by doing this in like monthly containers, it's a great way to try and get yourself into new things, new lessons. And the challenges are going to probably be like 10-day challenges each month. So jump in, and you'll be ready for the challenge. And it's a great way to start integrating new practices into your life without it being that daunting, like, I'm starting a New Year's resolution and I'm going to try and do one new thing the whole year. Like, just try a challenge. We'll all do it together. We'll practice and we'll see what sticks, and then you'll have some new tools in your toolbox. So full circle back to the whole prophesy according to your revelation. There might be some things that you're going to have to speak into existence and align with the revelation that it's possible, even though the 3D is not showing you that yet. And it does not matter that you know how it's going to happen. The point is that you speak it though as though it is. There's a lot more to it, which is why the monthly membership is going to have workshops. Okay, I'm not going to take the time here to explain the whole background, But you want to join that because this message, and it's like the universal principles that have to do with prophesying, manifestation, scripting, and the whole point is to get to that space in your divine identity where you're actually able to fully occupy who you were born to be. And then look at this. And then the day came. And then the day came. Ooh! Shoot, sorry, I am having a whole moment. And then the day came. Like, that's something I've actually used that line in some of my scripting letters. Like, and then the day came when I finally was able to accomplish this thing, or I was finally able to overcome this hurdle that has been tormenting my life for so long, you know, those kinds of things. Okay? And the whole point is for shalom peace of nothing missing, nothing broken. That is available to us. Don't live your life just struggling because you don't know how to get out. There are quantum principles, there are manifestation principles rooted in universal law that allow for us to step into the exceedingly abundantly far above anything you could ask, think, dream, or imagine. You're not doing anyone any favors by playing small or by staying in this false humility because some people are threatened by greatness, okay? That is not us here. Bring all your greatness. You are welcome here, and I'm so glad that this message found you. Lastly, if you're interested, I'm going to start at the end of each video doing a special message specifically for one person that left their name on a previous message. So if you're interested in getting entered into the drawing for a future special message directly from me to you, well, it's really from Spirit through me to you, drop your name in the comments and I will draw a name. And then in a future video at the end, at the end of this moment, I will then be like, okay, so-and-so, let's see what Spirit has to say to you. And then I am just going to totally lean in and allow whatever the message is to come through. Your wisdom levels up your life and you are the generational curse breaker of your family, okay? And then I will just listen and allow the Spirit to bring whatever message is specific to you, and it will just be a free gift from me to you and a thank you for being a faithful watcher of the channel and also a participant and an energy contributor. So be blessed, be well, be free, and I'll be looking for your names at the end of this video.